Welcome to Empire Academy. I'm Ross. This is Steve. Thanks for joining us today for the Empire Minute. Today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest things that I think anyone can really ever discuss with you guys, and that is basically when an owner brings up price, when anyone brings up price, right? You never want to basically lead with that. You never want to lead with that in basically your pitch, because when you lead with that, now you have to defend it, right? But when you lead with your value, you're propping up that price. Now they're asking how much does it cost, and other buying questions that indicate that they're looking to purchase, right? So with these things, we want to basically implement these tactics as much as possible with, again, steering away from leading with that price and, again, leading with the value to prop it up. So we're going to let Steve go in a little more in detail on how we can do that.
Yeah, so one thing you want to remember is when somebody calls, they normally do not know what to ask. They don't know what questions to ask. And when you're meeting with them, they still don't know what to ask because 80% of the people that are buying a rental property have never bought one before. So this is their first time. And chances are this may be their first time even dealing with a property management company. So the first thing that's on their mind is, what does it cost? And a lot of people equate price with value,
Correct.
Which there is no correlation to the two. So if you say, hey, I offer 10%, 15%, 20%, 3%, they're going to say that's too much because they don't know what they're basing it on. They maybe have a gauge of what their uncle did in Kansas 20 years ago, and they say, that's my price that I should be paying. They don't really know, and they don't understand. So it's our job to educate them. So again, when somebody asks and they lead with price and they say, what do you guys charge? A lot of times people will get nervous and go, oh, I knew that's what he wanted. He only wants to know price, and that's now he's just a price shopping. That's all he's doing. Well, he's really not. He just doesn't know what to ask. So remember one thing. Whoever is asking the questions is the one who's in control of the conversation. Yes. If you are asking questions, you control the conversation. So when somebody asks you a question, like how much do you charge, it's not written anywhere that says that you have to answer their question with an answer. You do not have to. There's no rule. There's no question jail that you're going to go to. So you want to think about this of saying, if somebody says, what do you charge? That's a great question. Can I get some information on the property? You've just redirected it, because now what you're doing is the more you can get them to answer, you can find out what their challenges are, and then you can get to find out what are services to match their needs. So for example, if somebody says, what do you charge? And you say, that's a great question. Can I get some information on the property? What's the address? And they go, it's 123 Main. Oh, great, 123 Main. What subdivision is that in? Oh, that's in Hartfield Landing subdivision. Oh, wow, we actually manage a lot of properties over there. We were just over there and leased a property the other day. Now he's thinking, oh, wow, these people, they know the area, they manage the area, and you see here now I'm redirecting it. Oh, can you tell me, is that a 3-bedroom or is that a 2-bedroom bath? You don't ask anymore. You don't keep asking them. You're asking them questions that they have to answer. Never ask them a yes or no question. Is that a 3-bedroom or 2-bedroom? Oh, it's a 3-bedroom. Oh, perfect. That's a great rental property. Is it occupied or is it vacant? Oh, it's vacant. Now you're thinking, okay, they have a problem. One of their problems is a vacancy. Maybe they had to evict the tenant. Oh, wow, it's vacant. Okay, how long has it been vacant for? 3 months. Now you're going, okay, now they're hurting for money. So now we know that they are not running it like a business, and maybe they have some other challenges. Okay, so when it was rented, what did it rent for? It rented for $1,400. Okay, was that, how long did you have it at that? Did you do any rent increases, or was that steady? They tell you what it is. Then you go back and say, okay, well, let me ask you this. Did the tenant leave, or did you have to evict him? And they say, oh, I had to evict him. Oh, man, that's tough. We've all gone through that eviction. I know what you're doing. You're giving them empathy. But do you see how now all of a sudden I got a lot of information from this person just by me asking questions? So just because somebody says and they ask you for price does not mean that you have to answer with price. It means that you have to take control of the conversation, and the way that you control the conversation is by asking them questions. Now, you may get an owner that says, well, why do you need to know that? Well, Mr. Owner, I need to make sure that your property even fits an area that we manage. If you're in Los Angeles and we're in Houston, Texas, that's not something we can manage. So first I got to make sure, are we even in the realm that we can offer services that match yours? Oh, okay, yeah, it's in Houston. Okay, great. What part? Because Houston's very big. And again, I want to make sure, is this an area that we're experts at? I want to make sure that our services match your needs. So I know this was a long-winded way to say that, but you want to be able to ask questions, and the more questions you can ask, the more you will control the conversation. Anything you want to add on that?
No, I think it's a really good point. I mean, like you said, it was kind of a longer version of it, and the purpose of that is basically to say, when someone brings the price question to you, lead with this, deflect it, and then basically now you re-engage them, where they have to basically answer the question. That's kind of the intent behind asking the questions, is now it's putting you in control. When they're asking you questions, now you're kind of on the defensive. You want to be on the offensive and control the conversation. And through that is the best way, like Steve mentioned, is by asking questions. And that's where you can kind of control the pace of the conversation, where you want the conversation to go, and control the outcome there. So we hope this has been helpful. I'm Ross. This is Steve. Thanks for joining us today for the Empire Minute. Take care.
Bye-bye.